Hey guys, it's B again from Kaya server. Today I'm going to give you guys a video, a little bit of uh, my gear, showing what I have and what witches should be aiming for. This isn't really trying to be a bragging video. A couple people requested to know after seeing my Uraka video. Um, what kind of gear I had and what were my stats. So I was gonna go over that a little bit and then let you guys know what the average player should be looking for. And at the end, I'll pull 17,000 relic fragments right here. Give you guys a little bit of pulling action, see what my RNG is like. So yeah, just want to dive right into it. You guys can kind of see my AP is 2200, my DP is 2100 and change. My Black Spirit's 149, and my HP is 6400. So my mana, crit is maxed, crit damage at 204, attack speed's maxed. Movement speed's not quite there yet, but I'm not that worried about that. And Al and Ahib are maxed. Still don't know if I'm saying them right, but it is what it is. So, going off of my gear, these are the stats that I have rolled on each gear piece. I got crit damage on my main weapon. The dagger has 2 attack stats. My helm has attack speed and all damage. My armor has crit damage. My gloves have a heave on both slots. And my boots have movement speed, so I'm not too slow, and a little bit extra MP, because my armor does not give that plus 20 MP. My accessories are, you can see them in the marketplace. They're not all that special. They're base oranges for the most part. My earrings, I got really lucky. I got 2 of them from Hex Marie, the world boss in the old Nightmare Zone, and then 1 from the Pearl Shop accessory shop thing popped up. I got lucky. But this bracelet and the belt are both from Siege. Owning a castle, you get to do castle dungeons and get these. And I still have 1 yellow, and it's this necklace. So, if you guys remember my Uraka video, you guys probably remember somewhat in the beginning that I was saying that crit damage and branch damage are the most important. They are. Mainly because crit damage affects every single move you use whenever you crit. You just do extra damage. So it's an overall damage boost. It's kind of RNG based off your crit chance, so you also want to max your crit. However, crit chance is fairly easy to get to 30. I have 1 crit crystal on because my helm takes some away. So I have 1 on, maybe? Yeah, I think 1, maybe 2. Anyways, yeah, so crit you want to max and keep max as much as you can, and raise your crit damage whenever you can. And so one of the easiest ways to raise crit damage is definitely your weapon. You can re-roll lines by feeding the Black Spirit purple or yellows, and you can keep rolling on your weapon for crit damage and your armor. So you want to try and get both of those to have crit damage. Nothing else can get crit damage. So my offhand has attack, which is the next best thing in my opinion. Branch damage, Al and Ahib, those are the 2 important branches for which. Hold on, I'm blinking red 1 second. Okay, I'm fine. Al and Ahib are the most important branches for which, as you can see, I have them maxed. Getting them to the upper 30s would be nice for the average player. For which specifically, you want to raise gloves with a hib if you don't have it maxed, and helmet with owl, because these are the two items that can get those branches. On top of, you want to make sure, and let me go into my black spirit real quick. Quick crystals. You want to make sure that your black spirit, your crystals, when you go in your black spirit mode, make sure your crystals have those two branches. It's going to take a while to collect and make sure all your crystals get out, a hib, out, a hib, out, a hib, all the way through them, especially if you're late on starting on this. But all of my crystals, and I'm being completely honest here, all of my crystals came from free-to-play stuff. It's the camp. If you go to your camp and you max your alchemy lab, you can make these purple crystal boxes. And I even have some purple crystals right here. And all of my yellow crystals have come from fusion from those purple boxes. So I send my workers out for metals. I mine when I have enough stamina, full stamina, I mine, so I get more of those breath of life or whatever resource the blue one is. And then I make my workers craft those purple crystal boxes, and I fuse them together, and I keep going and until I have all and a hib. And right now I'm still making purple crystal boxes because I'm trying to make some orange crystals. So all my crystals completely free to play. You can do this too. It's not that bad. I still want to replace this with another hib. Mainly because if I take this off and put an owl on there, I won't have max a hib anymore. And I'm about to get into why those two branches are so important right here. So with Witch, it's fairly simple. With other classes, not so much. Sorceress, for example, you can have 3 owl, I think 2 a hib, and then you have to choose for one skill one of these 2 branches for the branch skills, and that sucks. That means all your branch skills, it's fairly easy to max 2 out of the 4 branches, but 3 is really hard right now, at least. Future releases will allow you to max all of them pretty easily, but it kind of sucks for Sort because one of their main skills you have to choose between Serrett or Breathe, and then everything else is owl and hib. So you pretty much like nerf one of your own skills. With Witch, it's easy. These 3 skills can go into owl, these 3 can go into a hib. So if you max both of these, you get your max potential from all 6 of these skills, which is really nice. And so I want to go into branch damage a little bit. So this percentage and stuff, it took me a while to understand it once it was explained to me. So every percent you have here, it's quite literally branch damage. So ignore the names for a second and what they do, right? This number right here is percentage of extra damage that you do with those skills that have that equipped. So if you have 10% owl, you'll do 10% extra damage without whatever owl says. Ignore the definition of owl. Say you have 27% owl. All your skills that have owl skills, branches that have it equipped will do 27% more damage at the end. With the hib, it's the same thing. And this applies to everything but Serrett. Basically never use Serrett. I don't see it being useful at all. But every single percentage you get for a Rebrieve, owl, and a hib is percentage of extra damage done no matter what. Then you look into the effects of each branch. So again, this was explained to me. I'm not going to run through the video and do like a scientific testy thing. The person who explained it to me, I trust them very much so with the information they gave me. And I don't want to go through the tedious video of trying all this. Let's try it 0%, 10%. Anyways, so 40% is 40 on any branch gives 40% extra damage. And then you start talking about the actual effects. So owl, as you can see here, it's increased skill damage. It's very vague, but what it means is you ignore the numbers now. Like, don't look at this. Whenever you have a skill equipped with owl, owl does 10% on top of whatever your number is. So owl can go to a maximum percentage of 50. So it's always 10 at the base, 10% extra damage, and then you can max out the branch and it'll add 40 to it. Serrett is always one extra target, no matter how high you raise that number. A Hib is kind of weird, but I like it. It's a chance at extra damage, right? This isn't 40% chance of extra damage. This is 40% extra damage, and then it's a 10% chance of doing 70% more. So it's basically like another half of a crit. You have a 10% chance of doing an extra crit on top of whatever else you happen to be doing. You could get a crit and proc a Hib at the same time. It does massive damage. Meteor, if you get a crit and a Hib proc, you can kill people 100, 200 CP higher than you. But again, it's a 10% chance. It's very RNG, but when it does work, you feel amazing. Labreve. Labreve is up to 40% extra damage, right? With this number here. And then it's 10% more crit chance past your cap. So skills with Labreve will have 40% chance to crit, basically. Everything is like 10, 10, 10, except for Serrett, it's 1. These effects never change. The only thing that changes is the base extra damage based off what your branch damage stats are. So again, that's confusing. This is literally your branch damage. You do that percent more, that percent more, that percent more. I do not think it applies to Serrett. I think Serrett is broken right now. They might have fixed it in the latest patch this week, but I haven't tested it. I'm not going to bother. Because I already have Al and a Hib max, and it's really easy for Witch to just stay on those 2 branches and ignore everything else. So, again, for Witches, you want to raise these 2. If you have it, I was dummy up until mid-January, and I had, Labreve crystals. Let me go back to my crystals real quick. How do I do that again? Okay, here. So I had like, I had a, Labreve with 9 attack in a slot or something like that. Or like here, I would have a yellow plus 9 attack, but 4% Labreve. But I don't use Labreve. And it was more AP, so I was like, oh, okay, that CP matters. The thing is that CP does matter, but that extra 2 attack does not, do more damage for you in the long run. If you don't have both branches maxed already, you want to have every single crystal as these 2 branch damages. The reason why is because 3% extra damage on those 3 skills is way better than 2 extra attack. Just plain and simple. If your skill does 200% damage and you can do 3 extra percent on top of that, it's way better than 2 measly attack. So I replaced a lot of crystals. I had to do a lot of extra crystal making because I was just aiming for the highest CP with all of my crystals. But now, after about a month, I finally have all the crystals I want for the most part, minus this one. Yeah, if you haven't done this, you'll take a small CP drop, but it'll benefit you. You'll see you'll be doing way more damage than you were before if you can equip all of your branch damages for your crystals in your crystal slots. So next thing I want to talk about is slots, basically, because a lot of people are always debating keeping Gruntle or wearing orange 1 slots. In the beginning, everyone was racing with orange equips with 1 slot and buying them to oh, it's higher CP, blah, blah, blah. But again, the crystal slots matter. And I still have this crappy one, but I got it for free from Shaq, so I equipped it. I would say if you got it for free, wear it. I mean, if you got it as a drop or from Shaq. But I would not go out of my way to buy orange 1 slot weapons or anything, or armor even. Mainly because that branch damage, if you had all orange 1 slots and all 6 of these slots here, you'd be cutting the amount of crystals you could use in half. Basically almost cutting the branch damage you could achieve in half. And so you'd be missing out on 20% extra damage on all your owl skills and 20% extra on your hit heap. So I would say not to stick with your yellow Gruntle unless you start getting these for free from drops. Um, it's just not worth it. I had yellow gloves before I got this, before I bought it off the market. I had a yellow helm until my Shikadu 50k coin pulling video, and I kept them until I got 2 crystal slots. I have a couple of orange 1 slots in my storage just because, but I would say having those 2 crystal slots gives you better damage than a few extra CP. Just like with the crystals, I'd rather use a purple with the right branch stat than a yellow with the wrong one, because you want that CP. So I would say, in terms of priorities, in terms of all stats, and I'm going to get the crit damage in a second, but definitely with your crystals, aim for those 2 branches. Make them all that branch if you can. Start crafting them in your alchemy lab, and keep waiting for those Alanahibs that are nice for you. Attack speed, you want to get max, and it's fairly easy to max since it's only 20%. This is just so you can do combos. Some combos with which you can't do unless you have max attack speed. So I'm going to have a PvP video probably next week. Show you guys some combos, show myself in action if I can learn how to PvP on the emulator, because I usually do all of my PvP on my iPad. So that aside, you want max attack speed just to do some fun combos with Witch, because her skills are relatively slow. Again, crit chance is great to have max 2 or close to it, but the all important best stat to have here is crit damage. I would say crit damage comes first, branch damage comes second, then crit chance, and if you can, get attack speed up too. Move speed doesn't really matter. That's mostly for open world PvP or Nightmare. If you're running from people or trying to catch people, don't really worry about move speed. It's not that important. Mine's not even maxed, and I have 1 move speed crystal on here, but it's only because it's one of my branch damages and I don't have a replacement right now. So don't worry about move speed. That's dead last in terms of priority. But so let me go to my Lightstones. Alright, so these are my Lightstones. I have crit damage in this slot. I have both my favorite branches in this slot. Double crit damage in that slot. Double crit. Nope, that's the wrong one. 1 crit and 1 branch damage in this one. This is a lot of RNG too. It took me about a month to even get my first yellow crit damage. For the longest time, I just had purple crit damage Lightstones, which are only like 1 line. It was pretty sad. It takes a while, but then as soon as you get 1, I feel like you get 1,000,000. And I have a bunch more in storage for my alts. I have 1 right here. You just gotta keep waiting it out until you get crit damage. But crit damage is by far the best stat to have for your Lightstones right now. If you can't max it, that's fine, but definitely try and raise it up to 190-ish. Anywhere helps. I have branch damage in here because, again, I wanted to keep at least my branch damage at cap. So I have 1. I got lucky enough that gave me both the branches that I wanted. Ignore the attack. But I would aim for yellows as the average player. Aim for yellows with either crit damage and another stat, or one of your branches that you still need to get to 40. If you can't get crit damage, because it's kind of rare to find. Either way, those are the only things you should really have in Lightstone slots. Don't worry about that extra AP again. If it happens to come on a crit damage Lightstone, or if it happens to come on branch damage Lightstone, that's great. That's awesome, a little bit extra CP. But again, in the long run, a little bit extra CP does not do as much damage as crit damage with its extra percentage on every skill when it crits, or branch damage on those specific skills that you use. Again, my PvE build, at least right now in the new Nightmare dungeon, I use this skill, I use this skill, I use this skill, and I use this skill. I use everything but Meteor pretty much when I'm just grinding, and then I switch to Meteor if there's any bit of PvP going on in my area. So all of these skills that I use fairly often, when I'm PvEing, I'm using these 5. That's an extra 40% damage base. Extra damage without crit being involved at all on all 5 of these skills, which are on my PvE skill wheel. So again, it's really important. You'll see how fast you melt things once you have both of those capped. Trying to think of anything else. Let's see what else we got here. As far as accessories go, again, don't worry about oranges just yet. They're not really that important if you're a free-to-play player or of the like. Just they aren't too important right now. What you want to do is you really want to get accessories that complement the stats that you don't have maxed. So I needed extra crit. I have a Mark of Shadow. There are yellow and purple accessories that give as much crit. HP is just extra bonus for us whales over here, you know. But really aim for the stats you don't have capped. So I have crit. I have some attack speed here. I have more crit here and attack speed, and attack speed and move speed. Again, the move speed isn't important at all, but it's really the only thing left I can raise with accessories, so I have these move speed ones. Aim for purples or yellows, but get the stats that you need. Don't try to go too over. Like, let me take off one of these. You see my crit chance right now is at 30. I'm just barely over on all these things that are red. So if I unequip this, I'm 1.5 crit over, and I'm like 0.5 attack speed over. That's how little past cap I am. So I don't like waste any extra stats. And then these both are probably 1 or 2% over at most. Again, like, you want to get as many of these in the red as possible. They will increase in the future. I believe crit goes up. It's either 5 or 10%. Same with attack speed. Branch damage goes up to 50%. So it's important to get branch damage going now, for sure. HP and move speed. These are the stats you really don't want to care about as witch unless you have the extra funds or the extra time or the RNG luck to make it happen. You don't need to worry about these. These are mainly for PvP bragging rights or whatever else. When I make my PvP video, I'll show you guys some combos and stuff. When I fight people 1v1s, especially in my guild, I try to like make my gear equal in CP and whatnot. So like, this is really just against other guilds and other enemies. I don't really find these a necessity. I like skill-based PvP. I don't really like, you know, one-shotting people just for the fun of it. I don't really find that fun or challenging, but I do like defending my guild's turf. So I have these stats. Trying to think what else. So you guys know about the resonances and everything else. Relics are important. If you can get a yellow relic, again, this is the whole thing about like CP and stuff like that. Like, if you get say you're completely free to play, you don't get that many relic shards that often, and you have a yellow relic not in the right branch, or you have a purple one in the right branch. Same thing with the crystals. Take the purple with the right branch damage, even if it's something like DP. That lower CP but higher damage percent of what you need is way better in the long run than that extra 5 to 10 CP overall. 10% damage is a lot more. I think purples are 7.5, something like that. We'll see when I pull them. But equip your best, either yellow, purple, orange if you're super lucky. Equip your best relic that has the branch damage that you want. For witches, it's Al and Ahib. For other classes, it might be Labreve and Al. But don't. I was a dummy again, and I was equipping before I got this relic. Again, RNG. I had one on that was for Labreve because it was my best CP a month ago. It's not worth it. The branch damage makes you nuke stuff. You just do so much more damage when your branches are capped. Okay, so trying to think what else. For future reference, just realize that don't throw away all of your relics to that relic feeding thing in camp that boosts your drop rate or whatever. You want to keep your 2 best relics. The reason why is because in the future we have a second relic slot and both of them are used at the same time. So if you have 2 yellows that have your right branch damage, keep them. Don't throw away the second one. Always keep your best 2. If you get a better one than one of the 2 you already have, toss that one to the relic feeder, but keep your best 2. Don't just keep one because, when that comes around, who knows when it'll be. You'll have an empty slot or a slot with something not too great in it. So keep your best 2 relics. I think that's it for stats, really. The basic rundown. Keep your grunnels. Summary is keep your grunnels. Keep your grunnels unless you start getting orange 1-slot drops for free. Don't buy those orange 1 slots, especially with how expensive they are now. They're almost at max price. It's not worth it. Another reason why straight up is because then when you want to move to orange 2 slots, you have to basically throw away the 1 slot that you bought. And that's like an easy 75 to 100 mil that you wasted because you're overlapping your gear. Whereas when you overlap Grunnel, it's just like 5 mil or something like that. So keep your Grunnel for as long as you can. Don't revert back if you already have a bunch of orange 1 slots. Kind of stuck, I don't want to say that, but I mean, like, you would overlap your gear again going backwards. Keep your orange 1 slots, but do the best that you can with your crystals. But other than that, I would wait until you get 2 slots. And that's what I did with all of these, except for this, because I still haven't gotten a 2-slot dagger. And I actually got this dagger like the first week of playing, and then I was dry for OJ drops for forever. So yeah, stick with your grunnels. That's my pro tip. For gear, for crystals, equip all your branches. These 2 for witch. For accessories, go purples or yellows if you're not a whale. But equip the stats that you need to max. Don't worry about move speed. Don't worry about HP. Unless you are trying to be super competitive, don't worry about these 2 stats. Make sure these 2 and these 2 get as close to max as possible and raise crit damage whenever you get a crit damage light stone. And that's it. That's pretty much it. Make sure this is on your branch, one of your branches too. It just makes it easier to max these out. Okay, so last part of the video. I hope this is not too long. I'm gonna pull 17,000 relic fragments. I put a little bit of money into this. The other half is from black pearls from selling my belt because I just got this belt. It was a +3 nert belt, I think. So got quite a bit of black pearls from that. So yeah, I wailed a little bit, but this is for you guys. You guys get to see my RNG and then see if it's worthwhile to do it for yourself. I have a couple guild members that spent a few hundred and they didn't get anything other than more yellows, which they're hoping for OJ. Of course, everyone's hoping for an OJ, but we'll see what happens. Not too sure what's going to happen. I hope I don't die while I'm doing this. I think I'm going to just pull at 17,000. I'm going to do some manual ones and then fill it up. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And I So I'm going to have to leave a couple times to my inventory to feed it, because it doesn't look like I can auto feed like I can with Shikadu. Speaking of Shikadu, I talked to the GMs on the Velia In stream on Wednesday, and I sent them a direct question and asked them if the accessory shop for Shikadu is going to come out, and they said it is in the works. So Shikadu will be offering necklaces, rings, bracelets, all of it. I would assume fairly soon. I'm not going to say save your coins for forever, but coins will also be able to be used for accessories soon, because they said that it's coming along. So that's directly from GMs from the last Velia In post. I asked them a question, they read mine. So be wary. If you already have all the gear that you need, save it for some accessories if you don't have good accessories. Alright, I'm going to get down to the meat of it, go run it, see what I get. So far, all blues. Oh, one purple. Oh, something. Okay, one yellow. And about 1,000. I'm going to stop at 15 to feed. My inventory slots don't get full. Another purple, 2 purples. Wow, a lot of purples. Okay, gotta feed some. Gonna go here. Wait, oh, it's here. Okay. Offer relics. Another thing I want you guys to know is that I do not think Goblin's Blessing works in Nightmare. Specifically says field, and my guild and I have run some testing, and soups don't seem to work in Nightmare either as far as bonus junk items. Done some testing, and you almost get exactly the same amount of silver whether or not you have soups on. So this is really just for the field. Raise inventory if you need inventory space. I don't need it so much right now, but I'm continuing to raise this right now. I don't need EXP, so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to keep this yellow until I see what else I get. Let me complete this quest real quick. Alright. And now back to it. Go add-ons. Relics. Alright, here we go again. Okay. So far we got one yellow and about 4,000 coins. So be wary of this. Could amount to not much at all. I'm going to stop it at 12,000, I think, because this is a lot of blues. Okay. More to feed. Off a relic. Alright. Let me get rid of some junk in here too, so I have more inventory slots so I can go longer. Okay. Relic again. Alright, we're gonna go down. We're about 1/3 of the way through. And still only one yellow. Every time it lags, I think I'm getting oh, okay. Got a yellow, so 2 yellows so far. And we're gonna stop at 9,000 to feed. Getting quite a bit of purples now. Thought that was a yellow because it froze for a second. Stop at 8,000. Okay. Feed me. Feed me. There we go. Ooh, I'm raising inventory. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna get inventory to 19 then. Okay. Now I'll try and get this to 40. See if I can. Oh, almost 39. Okay. Still got 9,000 more. It's about halfway through, and we got 2 or 3 yellows. I don't even remember. Oh, we have 8,000. Yeah, so we are halfway through. It's going by pretty quick. Right. Stop at the last 4,000 to empty inventory one more time, and then I'll run it one more time. Okay. Relic. Maybe I want to get this to 20. There we go. I'll be able to get this to 40, that's for sure. Alright, last little bit now. Oops, wrong menu. Add-ons, relic. As you can see, guys, it's trap. Don't really waste your time with it. You'll get plenty of relics in the future. Just wait till you get your right one. Stick with the purple if you don't have the right yellow yet. If you do have a yellow, look, a yellow. If you do have a yellow, use it if it's in the right branch damage. But other than that, you know, don't go too crazy with pulling on this. It's not that beneficial. Only if you're really lucky you'll get an orange, but I don't think I am. So, yeah. This is pretty much the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys can take some of those pointers to make your gear as good as possible so you can do as much damage as possible. And, oh, I'm not trying to buy more. Yeah, so look forward to a PvP video coming out soon-ish. I want to say within the next week. Maybe not this weekend because it is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to all you lovely people out there. But yeah, don't bother. I would say don't bother testing relics really, unless you got money to spare, or if you really want a yellow because you don't have a yellow yet. You can get a few, but yeah, don't really aim for OJ. My guild has spent way more than me, and they haven't gotten it, so yeah, don't worry about it too much. There'll be chances in the future. But yeah, look forward to PvP video next. Show you guys some combos and what I do against most classes, if I can get other people to participate, and show you how well I do against other classes. But yeah, thanks guys. Comment if you have any questions or what you'd like to see next, and subscribe if you want to keep seeing more, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.